Hello and welcome to Self-Isolation Origami. Today we are going to learn one of the most simple and one of my favorite models in origami. It is called the water balloon, or simply just the balloon. It is very easy to make, it is very fun to make, and if you make loads of them in summer you can probably even have water fights, or perhaps just decorate your room. Now, this one is one that I pre-made, but we're going to make one on camera. So let's get started. First, you're going to start with a square paper. Now, if you don't have already pre-made square paper, you can always make square paper out of A4 or any regular piece of paper. All you have to do is fold it and cut it. Now, back to this. What we want to do first is we want to create a water balloon base. Now, a water balloon base is simply a shape that we form after a series of folds, and through that we can easily make a water balloon or other different shapes. So, to make the water balloon base, we want to take our piece of paper, we want to fold it diagonally, we want to make it nicely, fold it down the middle of the page, and it is recommended that you take your thumb and with your thumbnail you gently press on the piece of paper just to crease it that little bit more so that it turns out nice and tight and neat. Now you want to open it up and do the same but on the other side of the paper. So you want to fold it diagonally but opposite to what you've done before, and again make sure the creases are very nice, very tidy, and that there's no mess. Now that you have an X in your page, you need to turn it over, and this time you put one finger on the top, you press it down so that the sides pop up. You take one side and you fold it horizontally to the other side of the page. And again, you want to crease it. This one should be a little bit tighter than the previous creases, so put perhaps a little bit more pressure while pressing on the crease. And it should also be passing through that center point that we have. Now, open the page, lay it down in front of you, and what you want to do now is you want to put a finger on the center of the page, pop it down again, and now you see how those two bits fold and pop up. You want to grab them and send them down to the bottom of the page. Take the top part, stroke it over and tighten. And now if you look at it from the top like this, you'll see it looks a bit like a sand clock. So you have one wide bit, a narrow bit, and another wide bit. And this is your water balloon base. Now you would like to place one finger on the page, take one flap and fold it right over to this point. And you would like to do that with all of them. So also the other side. Once you're done, you should get a smaller square. Just like this. Again, make sure that all of your creases are pressed neatly, because this will affect the strength of your final piece. And since you don't want it to rip or break before you put water in it, I recommend you press it down nicely, just like that. Now that we have a square, we want to create a hexagonal shape from it. And again, if you would look at it from the top, you would notice you still have 4 sides. What you want to do is you want to take one side and you want to take the flap and fold it right in so that this point touches the center line. And you want to do that, of course, with all of the sides. So we're doing it now. Like always, make sure that you fold it nicely, although this part of the page will be a little bit thicker, so it might be a bit harder to fold. Don't worry if you make any unwanted creases next to it, that should be just fine. And this is the 4th one, right here. After this, you'll notice you have a hexagon, or some sort of hexagon, if you look at it from the top. Now, you take these flaps, which you will have on both sides, here as well, and you will want to tuck those into the pocket you've just created by the previous fold. So to do that, I recommend putting your thumb in the pocket, just to open it up a little bit. Press your finger down to open the pocket, to keep it open, and take your time nicely to push those flaps into these pockets. And again, because we are dealing with symmetry here, we want to do it on all sides, like this. Don't be afraid to pause the video if you need more time or if you would like to see something again. In fact, I recommend pausing the video before continuing to the next step. So this is the 4th one, and we have just folded it in, tucked it nicely, pressed on it with our fingers, and this is done. Now, the final step is the most fun one perhaps. You will notice that on one side you have a small hole in the point of your hexagon, and in that hole you would like to blow some air into it to inflate your shape. This should look like this. And this is how to make a water balloon. Oh guys, another thing you can do with those water balloons is you can use them as lampshades for fairy lights. So if you have fairy lights like these, the ones you use for Christmas, what you can do is you take your water balloon. What I do is I use a pen to just make this hole a little bit bigger so that we can put the fairy light in like that, and there you go. You have a fairy light shade. And if you want, you can even use coloured paper or simply colour this paper with a crayon or with a pen and create yourself some colourful lampshades for Christmas or simply for your room for anyone you